Are you looking for ways to expand your garden space vertically? Let me show you today how I use vertical gardening both in my garden beds as well as in the ground. I like to maximize my space, and I'm going to share some tips and techniques that you can use at home to double your garden space. If you're new here, my name is Kimberly. This is Treehouse Garden. Thanks for watching. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Let's get exploring, and don't forget to like this video, follow for more, and of course, don't forget to seed the day. Garden arches can add a lot of drama and beauty to the garden, but they also double your footprint. So for me, I like to put them in my raised garden bed. So this allows me to grow at the base of my garden bed, but also grow vertically. The things that I like to grow vertically are things like cucumbers and pole beans and squash and melons and flowers, all kinds of things that you can grow vertically to double the space. So that is tip number one, add some arches to your garden. When I designed this garden, I knew I wanted to add some arches and create kind of like a tunnel effect. So I have 6 garden beds in a row, and then I've got the arches connecting them. So I put the leg of one of the arches in one of the beds, and then of course the other leg goes in the other bed. When the arches are totally full, whether that's flowers or pole beans, it adds a lot of drama to the garden, and they're absolutely beautiful. Another way I have created vertical gardening is by creating a garden tunnel. It's super easy to do. It's with cattle panels. I have mine attached to wooden beds. You could also just attach your cattle panels to T-posts and make an in-ground tunnel. This allows me to plant fully in my wooden bed and then double my space by growing at the back and growing things vertically. The same things I grow on my arches, cucumbers, beans, flowers, squash, melons, are what I grow in the tunnel. Let's look at it from a different angle. So I have connected many arches. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to my garden beds. Right now they're starting to fill in with my beans and also my cucumbers. When the tunnel is fully grown and covered, it is quite dramatic. And I love it because it makes things easy to harvest. For example, I've got some cucumbers coming here, and they just kind of stick out the panel. When they get to the top, the actual fruit will drop down and make it super easy to harvest. So this is what the tunnel looks like right now. It's just starting to come in with things that are growing, and it's going to be really dramatic by the end of summer. The third way I vertically garden is actually in the ground. So I have some T-posts, those same cattle panels that I have zip tied to the T-posts. Then I plant my tomatoes, and I plant them on both sides of the cattle panels, and the tomatoes will grow up. I don't have to worry about zip ties or tomato cages. I just weave the branches in and out as the tomatoes are growing. It's a very simple way to grow tomatoes, and as you can see, I've got a long row, a lot of weeds too, but I grow a lot of tomatoes this way, and it's super easy. So that is number 3. Grow your tomatoes vertically with a cattle panel and T-posts right in the ground. Here's another look at those arches in a different part of the garden. This time I have 2 in a row in bigger garden beds. So I have a really big garden bed that I'm planting, but on the edge I've put in my arches to add things vertically. So as you can see, I have these amazing beds. These are called infinity raised beds by Ollie Gardens. They're beautiful. I have one in each color. So I have a lot of room in the actual garden bed, as you can see, to grow things. And then I have just devoted a teeny little space in that garden bed on the edge, connecting it from one bed to another bed, and I'm adding to the footprint of the bed. So this one, I've got some pole beans that are starting, planted some wisteria for a little drama. I've got some cucumbers at the base of this one, and more cucumbers at this one. as well as some beans and also some cucumbers. So when the arch is totally full, it's going to be super dramatic. And again, I just devote a couple inches of the garden space and in the bed, and I'm able to double my growing room. Another way that I like to grow vertically in my raised beds is with that same method using cattle panels with T-posts. So I've got a cattle panel here, I have zip tied it to my T-post, and I've got tomatoes growing on both sides. So I plant them on both sides of the trellis. As they get taller, I will start to just weave the branches in and out. This is a really great way to grow tomatoes because, again, no ties, no cages, super simple. So here's another bed. This is a different shape of bed. Love the color. This is the cream color. Again, using that same method of T-post, cattle panel, zip tied. And again, I'm growing tomatoes on both sides. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 tomatoes growing in one bed. And yes, I know I grow a lot of tomatoes. I am an avid canner and I like to make my own spaghetti sauce and pizza sauce. So I grow a lot of tomatoes to make sure I'm not buying those products at the store. And of course, we've got to mention my green stock. So this is my new green stock to the garden. I love it. And I'm growing a bunch of strawberries in here. So you plant in the pockets and then you water at the top and then the water disseminates into the vertical tower. It is great for strawberries. It is great for growing cucumbers, flowers, really anything that you want can grow in this beautiful tower. So if you've got a patio space or an apartment balcony, this is one way to grow in a very small space a lot of food. This part of the garden is still a work in progress, but I wanted to show you some of the beds. These are those infinity beds. Again, it can go in the U shape like these, which is really awesome, as well as the rectangles and the longer versions that I showed you so far. And then I've got some really cool round garden beds. I love those too. They're so cute. And then you can see in this U-shaped bed here, I also have doubled the space with the same technique, cattle panels and zip ties. So this gives me a lot of room in the front. I'll probably plant some squash, have it spill out the side, all kinds of other plants. And then I just devoted a little bit at the back so that I can grow things vertically and jam pack this bed full of food. Another way to add some beauty to the garden and also add some vertical ways of growing things is with garden hooks. So I've got a garden hook here. I've got my hanging basket. This is full of beautiful lantana and some petunias to invite the pollinators, but you can easily grow things like cucumbers and strawberries and other things in this method. So if you've got a small space, that's another way you can grow. Put some garden hooks in and plant those baskets. My last tip for you is to add some garden panels. These come in all different colors and shapes and sizes. You can get them at your local nursery or your big box stores. I have to admit, I have a lot of them in the garden, and most of them I found garage selling or thrift store shopping. So keep your eyes open as you're out and about. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you've learned some ways that you can double your space in the garden, add a lot of drama, add a lot of beauty, and of course, live a more sustainable life and grow a lot of food. Again, thanks for liking this video. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for following. And don't forget to seed the day.